Profile share via email report story. I need to find a way to get Luffy away from that little tramp. Hancock snapped before slamming her hands down upon the cool granite countertop of the restroom vanity with a visible scowl on her face. The woman refused to fathom the sight she witnessed mere moments ago. If there was anything she detested more than not getting what she wanted, it was the people who also stood in the way of such. Particularly, this orange-haired little slut. How dare she take Luffy away from her? What are you thinking, Onisama? Inquired her sister, Sandersonia, who had accompanied her to the party that night along with Marigold, their youngest sister. I can make sure she has an accident, if that pleases you, Onisama, offered Marigold. Hancock furrowed her eyebrows, still staring at the running water before her. Slowly, a devilish smirk splayed across her lips and a sinister chuckle followed before turning to face her sisters. No, we'll just give his little girlfriend a show. You both just need to follow my lead. The sisters reciprocated her smirk, thirsty for revenge on whoever dare mess with their eldest sister. Come on, girls, I have a plan, ordered Hancock as they sauntered outside the room. Now, Sandersonia, you. A silver tray full of mints was abruptly held out in front of them by a certain petite, short-haired blonde. Would you ladies like a mint? She chirped, cutting off the raven-haired woman. Rolling her eyes, Hancock pushed the tray away with a loud huff. Buzz off, peasant. Frazzled, the blonde eyed their retreating figures incredulously before setting the tray of mints down on the vanity. Oh no, Nami, I gotta do something quick. Carrot really needed this gig. She was hired by Garp's personal assistant to do one thing and one thing only, pass out mints in the bathroom. But there were more pressing matters to tend to, particularly putting a halt to whatever this she-devil had in store for Nami. If anyone was going to battle the orange-haired beauty for Luffy's heart, it was going to be her. Not whoever this shady woman was. After the way Nami treated her, like a true rival and a human being with feelings, Carrot owed it to Nami to have her back. Not to mention they've gotten a bit closer since the whole ordeal. The blonde determinedly nodded to herself and inconspicuously followed the three sisters out to the ballroom. However, her target was nowhere in sight. Where'd she go? As Carrot shimmied her way in between the plethora of party guests, she continuously scanned her surroundings looking for the snake-like woman when all of a sudden her widened eyes fell upon Luffy in all his glory. He was stuffing his face in true Luffy fashion, but the woman. One glance was more than enough to see the desperation in which she spoke to him. And Luffy. He looked surprisingly intrigued now after finishing that last piece of meat. Damn it, she needed to get closer to hear that they were talking about. Slowly, Carrot creeped behind a large stone pillar that was near the pair to listen intently to their conversation. And there is a banquet of your favorite foods just for you waiting outside on the balcony. Whoa, really? The woman hummed her confirmation. I'll take you myself. Come, Luffy. Let me tell Nami first, she must be looking for me. Promoted stories. You'll also like, let me help you. A Luffy x Nami fanfic. 211k 2.6k. After Luffy's battle with Doflamingo at Dressrosa, Luffy is now once again reunited with Sabo. Reuniting with Sabo somehow made Luffy remember about Ace and Hadarioke. I can't hate you, Zozen. 46k 1.5k. Zozen AU. More info in intro. Heads up, if the chapter is titled with lowercase letters, it is not necessary to read, but I added it for fun. It is just unnecessary thing. A Hunter's Forbidden Promise. 14.3k 508. A vampire and a human as lovers. Illegal. A vampire and a vampire hunter. Never happened in the history of the world, and never meant to. Luffy is a young vampire hunt. One Piece X Reader one shots. 69.8k 1k. As the title says, carrot carrot carrot, all fluffy, cute, adorable and wholesome one-shots about any male characters in One Piece smiley face. All the characters belong to Oda-san. And please note, endless loyalty. 3.7K74. Revolving light spoiler alert, revolving light, there are spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Desperate for a new start, Rhea joins Luffy and his crew as they head towards the Grand Line. Soon aft, by your side, 32.9K802. Currently editing Book 1. No regrets, right? Book 2. Gomen, Captain. This is the third book in my Luffix Reader series. If you haven't read the first two, I suggest do. Heart and Soul, Luffy XOC. 8K354. This story follows Luffy after a fateful encounter with a seemingly ordinary 18-year-old girl named Arya. Tragic circumstances lead to Arya joining Luffy's ragtag pirate. Oh, you needn't worry about her, Luffy. This will only take a moment. Yeah, I guess. I am pretty hungry after all, he trailed off. To get a better look, Carrot carefully turned to where the pair was just a moment ago and could see Hancock dragging him outside by the arm. Ah, leave it to Luffy to get enticed and tricked with food. After appropriately face-palming, Carrot began her trek once more. She needed to find Nami and fast to tell her about the setup. Blank. Meanwhile, the orchestra proceeded to finish playing the current song, and shortly after, there was a sudden cough that echoed out of the speakers throughout the ballroom. There, on the stage, stood a man with a long braided beard and a seagull on his hat. The chatter that filled the room faded, granting the man full attention. Good evening, everyone. Today we celebrate one of the best Marines I've come to know in this lifetime. He has prepared a few words for us, so, the man held a hand out, beckoning for Garp to take the stage. Garp, you have the spotlight. The multitude showed their excitement with whoops and cheers as Garp promptly made his way to stand on stage and quickly gave a small tap into the microphone before clearing his throat. Thank you for coming, everyone. I'm glad you are all here. It's come to my attention that I'm apparently retiring. Light chuckling coursed through the crowd before Garp let out a hearty laugh of his own. I must admit, waking up every day to golf instead of kicking ass will take some adjusting, but at least I'll be out of this guy's hair. Garp used his thumb to point over at the man wearing the seagull hat before the crowd erupted in laughter. I want to thank you all again, especially those who have believed in me all these years. Garp lifted his glass of wine upwards. Here's to retirement. He boomed. To retirement, the crowd echoed, finishing strong with a round of applause. The group of friends downed the rest of their beverages and exchanged a few laughs on account of Ace and Sabo's personal tales of the deranged old man. However, Nami noticed something. Oh, it was quiet, too quiet. She snuck a quick glance amongst her friends and noticed Luffy was nowhere to be found yet again. Did anyone see where Luffy ran off to? She asked, internally sighing. No clue. That idiot is always going missing, said Zoro aloofly. Nami furrowed her brows, looking a bit let down. It wasn't like Luffy to constantly leave her side like this, and her insecurities were getting the better of her once more, knowing that Hancock was running around. It was almost as if there was a nagging feeling in the pit of her stomach making her aware that something was wrong. As Nami began to walk away in hopes to find her dimwit boyfriend, Nojiko sensed her distress and followed her. The woman placed a firm hand on her sister's shoulder. I can help you look around for him, Nami, she offered. Flashing her a warm smile, Nami nodded. Sure, that'd be great. I'm sorry to intrude, however, I couldn't help overhear you're looking for a fellow named Luffy, whom I believe is Garp's grandson, correct? Nami quickly snapped her head in the direction of the unknown guest and was taken aback by her snake-like features and fluorescent green hair. After coming to her senses, Nami gave her a small, awkward smile. Uh, yeah, that's right. Out of the blue, a much bigger woman with ginger hair came up to the pair, pointing towards the balcony area. I just saw him exit onto the balcony. Without meaning to, Nami blinked, a bit confused by who these unusual women were, but now wasn't really the time. She just wanted to find Luffy. Oh, thanks, she spat, walking past them and towards the balcony. After a moment, both women turned and smirked at each other, watching their sister's victim walk towards the little show they most graciously arranged for her. Immediately, Sandersonia pulled out her cell phone to send the eldest sister a text message. The target is on her way to you, she should arrive in 2 minutes. They both fled the scene, trailing behind Nami towards the balcony but not before leaving back a very confused Nojiko. Feeling a bit suspicious over the interaction, Nojiko watched as the two women walked towards the balcony. There was something off about those two. It's almost as if she's seen them around before, but she couldn't quite place her finger on it. Walking back to rejoin the group, Nojiko continued to eye the women who made their way towards the direction in which they had just pointed out to her little sister. Those two look familiar, she announced to no one in particular, refusing to take her eyes off of them. Ace followed his girlfriend's glance. Those are Hancock's sisters, he acknowledged, causing Nojiko to immediately pale. Something was definitely suspicious. The squeaking of shoes rapidly approaching them against the tiled ballroom floor snapped Nojiko out of her thoughts before coming face to face with a petite blonde in a white button-up shirt with black trousers. Everyone, she cried before hunching over to catch her breath. Wah, Carrot, what are you doing here? Vivi inquired, stepping towards her to place her hand atop the girl's heaving back. That's not important. We have a problem, she squawked, finally composing herself. The group just stared at her, stunned. Most of them seemed surprised to see such a familiar face around, but some were also intrigued as to what she needed to say. Feeling panic, she whipped her head around as if looking for something. Where's Nami? She asked. She's looking for Luffy. Robin stepped in. This is bad, real bad. We have to find her before she gets to Luffy. Usopp groaned, his temper running thin. Mind telling us what's going on? He butted in. Oh right, she chirped. I overheard this lady in the bathroom say she had a little show in store for Nami because she stole Luffy from her. Nami's being set up. Nojiko lunged forward, placing her hands on Carrot's shoulders. Wait, did she have long black hair and had two weird-looking girls with her? Carrot nodded furiously, earning a frown from Nojiko. I knew it, snapped the lavender-haired woman. Nojiko, did those girls tell Nami where Luffy was? Chopper asked with enlarged eyes. Yeah, the balcony. Relinquishing her hold on Carrot's shoulders to grab her hand, she tugged her along towards the designated spot. Sorry, Carrot, you're going to be our witness. Blank, I guess Luffy must be out here. They did say the balcony, right? Sighing a bit, she wandered out the door, eager to find Luffy and head home. It's been such a long night and having to scavenge around for him wasn't helping either. Despite not seeing anyone directly outside the French doors, Nami decided to step outside, faintly hearing voices towards the other side of the balcony. The further she walked, the louder the voices became, and although it was a bit dark outside, she could finally make out Luffy's spiked hair from the short distance. She furrowed her brows when she realized something. Wait, who's he with though? Squinting her eyes to get a better look, she froze in place once she made out the woman. Why is he with Hanko? Suddenly, her world came crashing down. Her eyes slowly widened and she felt waves of disbelief, pain, and emotion flood her as she saw the pair kiss. Nami's hands were trembling. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. She seriously wanted to puke. Oh, of course. It was obvious that her relationship with Luffy was too good to be true. This was bound to happen sooner or later. In that moment, she had come to accept that it was impossible for her to be happy. With a shaky voice, Nami thickly swallowed, hesitant on calling out to him but did so nonetheless. Luffy. Immediately the man pushed the raven-haired woman far away from him before turning to eye his girlfriend erratically. Nami, how could you? She choked out with a cracked voice. She honestly expected this from other men, but not from Luffy. The entire time that they've been together, Luffy has shown her nothing but reassurance and love, so never in a million years did she ever believe this would be her outcome. So, why would he betray her this way? No, Nami please, it's not what it looks like. Whatever do you mean, Luffy? It's exactly what it looks like, said Hancock melodramatically, balling her hands together while looking at him endearingly. With a scowl, Luffy turned to face her. Shut up. Nami's face held a blank expression and she began to distance herself, her tears inevitably cascading rapidly down her pale cheeks before she turned around. Nami, wait, he called, reaching out to gently grip her elbow as she walked away. It hurt him so much to see her this way. He hated when she cried. She lowered her gaze to the floor, her tears beginning to flood her eyes. Let go of me, Luffy. No matter how you look at it, he was in trouble, wasn't he? His breath was shaky as well and it felt as if a sharp knife had been impaled right through his heart. Luffy was also furious when he came to the realization that he had been set up by Hancock. Nami, wait, please. This is all just a misunderstanding. We love each other, remember? Nami blinked the tears out of her eyes, not even bothering to turn around. No, Luffy, it's over. She coldly stated before yanking her elbow away. Nami, please. He begged. Ignoring his plea, Nami ran across the length of the balcony to the other side of the path and down the flight of cement stairs. Then just like that, she was gone. Blank. To be continued ISAN. Thank you all for being so patient with me these past few weeks. I've had a few life changes that have made it a bit difficult for me to have free time lately, but rest assured, I will finish this story. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. C, where stories live. Discover now.